Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name's Carla, and I'm the comms manager here at the Hub for All Spectrum Connectivity. And today I'm joined by Alok Sahu, and we'll be discussing AI and LLMs in research. So, Alok, thanks again for joining us. Perhaps you could give us a very brief introduction to yourself and your background.
Thank you so much, Carla, for inviting me today. My name is Alok, and I'm working as a senior research software engineer at AI Competency Centre within University of Oxford. It has been around 1 year for me joining the team, and it has been really exciting so far. So part of my role involves developing prototype for different departments within university, embedding the AI workflows within their system. So I'm also involved in delivering training sessions to members across university, especially in topics like how to use generative AI for AI assisted programming, and I deliver sessions on how to use agentic AIs and how agentic AI can be utilized in researchers' workflow. Before joining Oxford, I worked with a healthcare company. It was an occupational healthcare company. I worked as an AI developer for the healthcare company, developing tools like triage applications, and I have worked on projects that involved developing report writing softwares that could help clinicians automate their workflow.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. So let's start by just providing a little bit of background and sort of really setting the scene. Why are LLMs relevant to researchers, and why so much now?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that researchers have been doing since like decades. So core task of researchers are to read papers, write them, review them, take notes. So anything that can help researcher handle flow of text more efficiently has direct impact on their work. Researchers have used computational tools for decades. What has changed recently is the quality of what these models can do now. Until fairly recently, large language models could complete a sentence, translate a phrase, but it was not reliable for anything more complex. Over the past 2 years or so, things have shifted dramatically. Models can now summarize long documents or maybe multiple long documents in a way, pull information from messy text, help draft software codes, which is something very amazing these days, and develop complex software applications as well, which used to take several months previously. So this, you can think of large language models now as a great prototyping tool as well. So it's very easy for a researcher to create a prototype for their research work, and maybe it can help them fail fast during their research process and move to the next idea. So it has drastically accelerated research work in many ways, but they have reached a point where they can genuinely save time on routine works. So I think this has made a great impact on researchers' workflow in many ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the technology has just I watch it over the last maybe 12 to 24 months when we first kind of had these models to play with, and just the advancements in what is now possible is just so staggering. It's moving so quickly. So, I mean, would you say there's anything in particular that's kind of really stood out over that last sort of 12 to 24 months period in terms of the change?
Absolutely. That's a really good question, Carla. In fact, a lot has changed, and it is worth being specific about what has changed over the past 2 years or so. The clearest shift is in capabilities of large language models. uh, 2 years ago or so, models could answer a question, draft a paragraph, and that sounded amazing at that time. Now they can work through problems in steps, revise their own output, and can help much longer inputs as well. So I can share a full paper or several papers and ask LLMs to make a comparison in between those research papers. That was not really practical before, but this is something that has been possible recently with these new models. The second change is that these models can take actions, not just produce text. So they can run software codes for me. They can search websites. They can search the web and extract information for me. They can read documents, carry out multiple step tasks with limited supervision. So this is something that has been very amazing. So this is something called agentic behavior, agentic capabilities that has been induced in this large language models recently. For research, it opens up workflows where model does more than just advising the researchers. It can run a literature search, extract figures from multiple research paper, perform a quick analysis, and return the results. So this is something that has been very dramatic. On top of it, um, recently we have seen a greater integration of these tools across different application, especially in the application that we use on a day-to-day life. For example, let's say Copilot. This is something that we can see on Microsoft Office tools. Like, we can access AI tools within Word, Excel, or PowerPoint presentation, which has been really helpful and very much accessible these days. So I think this is something which is worth noting. I would like to add one more point, which is the cost element to it. Uh, in some way, we can say that the models have gone cheaper. They have become very efficient, more efficient in terms of performance. At the same time, we can see slight drop in the cost of this models. So in some ways, it has become more accessible to wider audience. So this is something good that has happened over the last 2 years. I can say that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much more accessibility, yeah, and availability, which is, and of course this agentic piece as well. So okay, during the last period, so December and January, HASC and our research community were lucky enough to join a couple of workshops delivered by yourself, Alok. Thank you. They're all very well received. We discussed various different topics, including agentic AI, advanced prompting, and code generation. So I was hoping perhaps you might be able to just walk us through some of these concepts.
Sure.
So over to you.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it was great to deliver the workshops on advanced prompt engineering and agentic AI systems to the engineers and researchers working in the telecom domain. This field is something, I would say, that sets the foundational knowledge when working with large language model kind of tool. Prompt engineering is a technique where we interact with large language models more efficiently. So we talked about various ways in which we can in some way trick large language model to generate more high quality outputs. We also talked about agentic capabilities that large language models now have got, especially the tool functionality. So basically, we can empower large language models with set of custom tools, and large language model can utilize them and execute tasks for our use cases. So this tools can be very custom, let's say in our workshop, we saw a small demonstration about how we can maybe switch between different routers. We could turn off a router just by entering a prompt in natural language text, and we used plain English to ask large language model to perform some actionable items on behalf of us when we empowered the large language model with some external tools. So these are the recent capabilities that have been induced in large language model that makes it much more helpful, much more actionable, that can accelerate our workflow. Yeah, yeah. And especially the code generation aspect of it, the large language models have been really helpful, I would say. So there have been recent advancements in many uh, software applications that have come up recently that can help researchers to write software codes. I think that is something that has become really helpful in recent days.
So
Yeah,
powerful, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great. And if we could maybe have an exploration of some real life use cases specific to industry, that would be fantastic.
Sure, absolutely, Carla. This is something really interesting. It's helpful to group this by sector because pattern differs depending upon different kind of work being done across different areas. For example, in agriculture, systems are being used to predict crop yields, to control fruit harvesting robots, and to monitor fields using visual data. I think these are working deployments that have been recently adapted within this industry, within especially in the agriculture sector, and these are not just some prototype. So this is coming from a recent report done by UKRI. So these are, I'm talking facts rather than something based on my own personal research. In construction, companies have been using computer vision, image analysis tools, or image analysis large language models to monitor work sites for unsafe behavior. They are also building digital models of sites, which lets team plan interventions remotely, and running simulations to test design choices before anything is built. So this has been really helpful in the construction domain in many ways. um, there have been some use cases in the transportation side as well, which is not something very new, but there have been more adaptations recently, especially in things like when in transportation planning routes, scheduling timetables of dispatching items, managing inventory levels, things like that. And also, I think predicting when a machinery is likely to fail so that maintenance can be done on time. This has been a use case that has been rapidly adapted across transportation sector. um, in the creative art, the creative industry, and as we have seen the recent capabilities of large language models being able to generate videos and generate images at the same time, this technologies and tools been very much accessible to common people, to all the users. There has been some very good use cases seen in this creative industry as well. For example, tools are used to edit images, create videos, drafting text, translating between different languages, which have been become more reliable recently. That wasn't that great. That did not perform that well earlier. I think this has been something seen very much in the creative art industry. So like image generation capability of large language model and video generation capability of large language model. um
Yeah.
it's I think alongside this, I would also like to emphasize, as I have kept talking about it, like in the IT sector especially, code generation capability of large language models have been very useful. It has brought dramatic change in the way software engineers are now building software applications. So there have been recent advancements in the AI tools available that can support software engineers to develop software application. The codes that are now generated by this large language model, tools like Cursor, GitHub Copilot. So these are some tools, or Claude Code, or even Codex from OpenAI. These are some of the tools that have been very reliable in terms of writing software codes and are widely adapted across the IT industry. So this is something very much revolutionary these days, I would say. Yeah.
There's whole new trends evolving out of this. Of course, you've got vibe coding and all these kind of startups and things. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's moving so rapidly.
It has in fact, these tools have in fact brought down the barrier from where
correct.
anyone without any technical knowledge are now able to develop software application just using vibe coding, just giving clear instructions to AI, which then builds up a clean application for the end users. So this is something that has been really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it, like I say, evolving very fast. So
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
the possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it has become much more than a tool that can accelerate our workflow. This tools now sits within each of our computer systems and can act on behalf of us. So the recent tools that we see now, the recent capabilities that have been embedded into these tools can has made them an actual actor rather than an advisor that it used to be earlier. So it used to advise something, a piece of information, it could plan for us earlier, but now it can act on behalf of us. So it can actually go within our system file folders,
Fill
interact
a
with our
form,
folders.
click, do things, perform
Exactly.
tasks. Yeah.
Yeah, so this has been something very amazing. Yeah.
So there's cost reductions, efficiencies, time savings. It's vast, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the thing that almost many of the users would have been using is writing emails, drafting emails at least, which has proved, I think, really time saving. Personally, for me, I can say, yeah, and I think for many other researchers as well. So yeah.
And just automating, like you say, it's automating all those kind of the sort of all the background noise of your job so you
Yeah.
can get on with the actual sort of meaty stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. I could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
So,
Same here.
there's
Yeah.
so many parts to this.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And all this technology, as they say, comes great responsibility. So I guess it's new and it's evolving in terms of kind of ethics and compliance and this sort of thing. So perhaps, and I mean, it is a really big subject, so it's a whole conversation on its own. But maybe we could just touch very lightly on governance and some of these topics.
Sure, absolutely. So there are a lot of elements that come into picture when we look at the governance side of things. So for example, hallucination, data privacy, and policies around using AI are something that has been in in the highlight of talks very recently. So in terms of, let's say, hallucination, it's helpful to remember what large language models can actually do. So it's important to understand that this is a prediction engine, not a knowledge base. It can produce text that are statistically likely to follow your prompt. It can look very coherent, it can appear very much relevant, but it's important that we cross check and validate the output of large language models wherever possible, and as much as possible. In fact, they're very good at large language models are very good at misquoting authors, fabricating
Yeah.
citations. So this is something that has been very frequently observed. So it's important to be aware of that. um, the practical rule is in some ways straightforward. Treat every factual claim, every citation, and every number from a model as unverified until you have checked it against a primary source. So this is something very important in terms of checking the hallucination element of large language model. It's also worth considering the data privacy element of that as well. So this is something which is often under considered. So when we paste, let's say, an interview transcript or uh, a data set into a third party large language model, there is a likelihood that the provider might review the text that has been pasted on their platform. So for anything covered by ethical approval, a data sharing agreement, or a confidentiality clause, the safe assumption is that a public chat interface is not the right place. Many institutions now offer enterprise agreement with stronger data protection agreement. So those could be appropriate channel for dealing with sensitive material, utilizing sensitive data sets in a way. Yeah. Uh,
And I think that you're right. That's the one thing that I find is often overlooked. So it's just kind of being mindful of the fact that anything you put into an LLM is pretty much has to be public facing, or kind of like it's yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
IP, especially within the research space, just to be really hyper vigilant on that stuff, I think is the key
Yeah,
message.
I think this also comes along with the institutional policies around it on how users use AI within their own roles, and this is something that has been changing very quickly, and it is especially due to the advancements in the or rather I should say rapid advancements in the technology recently. So there is no set institutional policies that can rule around all the areas.
Keep up with the evolution of the technology, isn't it?
Ex-
Very often. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a huge topic, so yeah, we'll
yeah,
maybe for another day, a whole new session perhaps. But
yeah.
yeah, cool. Um, okay, so perhaps then looking to the future of AI in research, how do you think AI will change academic work looking forward? I know we've kind of touched a little bit on it, but maybe you could expand a bit more around that.
Sure, absolutely. I want to be careful here because predictions about AI tend to
Yeah.
be either too bold or too cautious, because things can become obsolete very soon in this
It's
rapid advancements in the technology. Um, the first change is in the texture of daily work, how we utilize and integrate AI in our daily workflow. On top of everything, I'm big advocate of learning AI tools and keeping up to the recent advancements in the technology and the recent applications. So it's important to have information, have awareness about what this AI tools can do. Many of the small time consuming tasks in research are a language task: summarizing a paper, reformatting a reference list, let's say, cleaning up notes from a online meeting, things like that. So this tasks are not where research value is created. They take up real hours of time. So these are areas where AI can be really utilized. Researchers can leverage AI tools in tasks like summarization and notes taking tasks. So these are very easy tasks with less significant impact on their
It's like the
uh,
admin, the kind of the
yeah.
sort of everyday stuff that, researchers want to get on with research, really. So it's just kind of maybe having that AI as your assistant, your admin maybe, or something. Would that be accurate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They're very good at AI can be really utilized in automating the repetitive task,
Yeah.
and yeah, it would be good to utilize AI in those fields. Yeah. At the same time, I think it's important, especially for someone in the early research career. It's important for them to make sure that AI is utilized in a way that doesn't take away the deep uh, insights they might have obtained otherwise. For example, if they're utilizing AI to summarize or extract insights from a research paper, in some way it is taking away the deep insights they would have got otherwise when they would have read the paper manually. So it's important to make sure that we have got those deep grip over the concepts, over the field in which we are
Yes.
working on. So yeah.
It's all about balance. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 And that actually leads really nicely on to my next question, which was around what skills researchers might need for this more AI intensive kind of future.
Sure. Um, I think the first is to learn the tools, but do not skip the foundation, as I said. So if you use a model to summarize every paper, you save time. You do not build deep familiarity with your field that comes from careful reading of the concepts.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that familiarity is what lets you notice when a model is wrong. It helps us develop that judgment to judge the output of AI. So this is something important to have deep familiarity with the domain knowledge in which a researcher is working on. Second is to protect the habit of writing, I think, which is really important. This is something I personally feel that writing is how we think. If a draft is produced by a model and then edited, you lose part uh, part of the process where you own the argument, and that actually takes shape of the entire writing process. Using It's good to use the tools, but make sure that it still works. That is, it still is a part of work that you fully advocate, and you take the ownership of the work basically.
Well, you remember as well. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? When you've written something and read something and written it, it's you're remembering it, and it's more of that kind of learning process, isn't it?
Yeah,
That it
yeah,
just sort of stays in your brain a lot more. So we shouldn't outsource too much of it.
yeah,
Maybe find that balance, as we were saying before.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so in terms of early career researchers, do we have any specific kind of guidance for them or what they should be thinking about?
um I cannot say any set guidance around. I would not like to set any guidance around it, but it's important to keep up with the recent advancements in the AI, especially in their field. For example, if someone is working in the genetic engineering side, I think there have been recent advancements in large language models capabilities in terms of how they can analyze, genes and genetic data. Similar advancements can be seen in other domains as well. So it's important to see and catch up with how AI can be integrated, what recent advancements have been done in AI within their field, and be able to utilize those products, understand the drawbacks of the existing AI models or the recent AI models, and working with them, understanding those limitations of those models and utilizing their capabilities where they excel more than human judgment. So or basically where they can accelerate uh, the work process faster than human. It would be good to utilize AI tools in those areas.
Great, thank you so much. Some really interesting points that we've covered so far. But I think in terms of just wrapping up, maybe we could, are there maybe 3 or 4 kind of key takeaways from yourself, Alok, that we can leave our audience with today?
Sure, absolutely. So I can give like many key takeaways, but I would like to emphasize on few things. Especially this is coming from me working at the AI Competency Center and part of a team who embraces or whose one of the goal is to empower users to use these tools and find if these tools can be helpful in their field or not. It's important to understand the capabilities of these tools. So a very good way of doing this is straight away jumping into the tool and utilizing and trying to understand their capabilities is a very good way to start with. Keeping up with the recent advancements in this tool, specifically in the domain in which you are working on makes this tool more relevant to your work, to your work in many ways. For example, if someone is working in healthcare domain, rather than just understanding about the general AI tools available, let's say Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, platforms like that, it's also important to understand how what advancements have been done in their own field. For example, is there any custom large language models that have been developed that could
Interesting, yeah.
accelerate their own workflow? For example, recently there has been a model released by OpenAI called Rosalind, which can perform a lot of scientific study things, like it can help in drug discovery, it can help in genetic engineering side of things. So I highly recommend someone working in those domain to have a look at it and understand the capabilities of this emerging models. So similarly, like I said, it's important to understand what advancements have been done in this field, particularly in your domain, that would make this technology very much relevant to your workflow, and that will help you to keep up with the advancements in the technology. So this is something I would suggest to all members, researchers working in this field, in their field.
Amazing. So
Yeah,
dive in, do it, get on board, get involved,
yeah,
number one.
absolutely.
And number two, yeah, just look to see whether there are any kind of more niche or specialist models specific to your own fields, and use that as a way to kind of keep up. So there are
Yeah.
two kind of
I, I, I,
closing.
I would like to add, it's very important to familiarize ourselves with how this tool behave, how these tools work. For example, it's a good practice to test this models by giving a prompt and seeing its output, and by changing our instructions in the prompt and see what difference it made from the first output to the second output. So this is a good way to start with on interacting with this AI tools and understanding their behavior and their functionality in many ways. Um, uh, uh, this is very much important to keep ourselves up to date, because the advancements in the technology has been very rapid, and if we especially as an academic institute or a researcher, if we are not keeping up with this recent advancements, the gap will just keep increasing rather than decreasing. So it's important to keep up with the recent advancements in that way. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. So we've covered a huge amount of content there and some great tips. Thank you ever so much. So I guess finally, where can people find you and follow you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with researchers and answer if they have any questions related to their field. Please feel free to connect me with me on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's very generous. Thank you very much. So we will put all the links, obviously, in the
Yeah,
notes to this video as well.
absolutely.
So
I can share the link with the audience. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
thank you very much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Carla. It was nice speaking to you and talking about how AI can be utilized for researchers today. So yeah, it was nice talking. Thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you very much.